Hey crafty friends, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I have a fun little Easter card for you that are inspired by my chickens. I'm going to be using the Lovely Layers Barnwood Fence, the Egg Crate, and the Lovely Layers Spring Greenery. And then we also have the cute little stamp set that is going to say your extra special, which I love. So on the waffle flower grip mat, I'm going to do a ton of ink blending for everything. I am using Distress Oxide inks. This one is Gathered Twigs, and this is the Barnwood Fence that I'm going to ink blend. And as you can tell, I'm just going to ink blend this roughly because I do like the different color variances in the wood. So I'm going to finish doing that, and I'm just going to clean my grip mat in between. Then from the Horizon Slimline borders, I have die cut a strip of grass, and I am coloring that with mowed lawn. Then we have more greenery. So die cut from the Lovely Layers Spring Greenery. I die cut a ton of greenery. We'll see, I actually made all of it fit on my card. Usually I over die cut, but I did want this to be pretty full. I am going to ink blend these guys here with the mowed lawn. And then the next die cuts that I'm going to ink blend will be with Rustic Wilderness. So I'm just getting a nice good color. If you did not want to do ink blending, you could die cut from multiple colors of cardstock. Here is some of this other greenery that's going to be ink blended with Rustic Wilderness. I do find that ink blending is such a fast way to color die cuts, and I do tend to do it this way more than picking out colors of cardstock because I feel like I have more ink colors than colors of cardstock and feel like you can get more of a custom look. Then we have some of these layering pieces that go with our Lovely Layers Spring Greenery. I'm using Squeezed Lemonade and then Dusty Concord. Then we have our cute little eggs from the Egg Crate die. Now, I said this was inspired by my chickens, and we do have some little chickens. They're about 4 weeks old, and I thought it would be fun to make these speckled, colorful eggs. So I am using, this is antique linen. The chickens that we have, about half of them are going to have brown or cream eggs, and the other half will have colored eggs. They might be blue, green, bluish green. We might end up having a pink egg because we do have a couple chickens that are called Easter eggers, and then some other ones that tend to have colored eggs. So that's what I'm going for here. I used bundled sage. I will be using, oh, what color is this? This is Speckled Egg. I'm going to use Salvaged Patina, Crushed Olive, and Antique Linen for the eggs here. I'm using a small detail brush to add some color just to give it a little bit of texture to the eggshell itself. And so I'm going to be blending some of these colors together, and then we're going to add some speckles. I did color quite a few eggs. I did not use all of them, but I did want to have more than enough. So here is that crushed olive. I did ink blend lightly so I could still use the crushed olive and add darker areas on the eggs. Let's use more of this Salvaged Patina. I'm going to do that lightly and then add a little bit of that speckled egg around the edges. I also am going to do some splatter on these eggs because, again, I did want them to be speckled. Not all chicken eggs are, but these ones are definitely going to be speckled, and I'm just deciding what color I want to use. I'm going to use Gathered Twigs on the tan one and the green ones. I'm going to push this down onto my work surface, add a little bit of water, and then use a small paintbrush to just splatter some of these big speckles on the background. For the blue eggs, I will be using Uncharted Mariner to splatter on those. And I'm actually going to bring in a larger paintbrush and get a really fine splatter on the background. So I'm going to do that here in a second. I'm going to press a little more ink onto my glass work surface here. And then I'm going to grab this different paintbrush, dip it in, and just use my finger. So your finger will get inky, but you know, it just washes off with water. Let's ink up 3 more eggs. I did end up using 7 out of the 9 that I colored. So I'm going to do the bundled sage again. I will do another antique linen. So going lightly and then adding more of that same ink darker around the edges. And then do 1 more crushed olive. Do a nice quick blend. And this doesn't have to be perfect because eggs aren't perfect this way. So it's really super easy and quick to color these. And let's splatter these with that gathered twigs. I am going to use the bigger paintbrush this time to get that finer splatter all over the background. I think these turned out so cute and fun. I'm going to add a few of the bigger splatter here. And then we can move on to putting this card together. So this is the barnwood fence. I'm going to add the 2 strips of wood here. And what I like about this die is that it also embosses the wood grain into your fence, which is really, really nice for that die to have. Let's add our flowers. This is from the Lovely Layers Spring Greenery. So I'm going to add my purple flowers here. Just a little bit of liquid glue, and then I can just pop those guys in place. And something that I like to do with my design is lay my design out first so I can really get a visual before I adhere anything down. And especially something like this, I'm going to line everything up, only take off what I need, and then just glue down the rest, which you guys will see here in just a minute. Like I said, I wanted this background to be very full. I wanted it to feel very springy. And so I do end up using all of this greenery. I also tucked all of the eggs in because sometimes chickens lay their eggs in funny places, not just in their coop. And this is the second time we've had chickens, and the first time we had chickens, they would come onto our patio and lay eggs there. I mean, they were just the funniest things, and they have such cute little personalities. So they were my inspiration for this, that you would just find eggs kind of all over your yard in funny little places. So I have a piece of light, kind of aquamarine cardstock. You could do ink blending for your background. It was just quicker to find a piece of colored cardstock in my stash. I'm adding some foam adhesive strips behind the fence here, and then we can place that on our card panel. Then the grass, because I use the Horizon Slimline borders, it cuts a long piece, so I could cut that piece in half and have 2 layers of grass, which is what we're going to do at the bottom of this card. So I'm going to line it up, get it as high as I want it to go. I can adhere that in place, trim off the excess, and then put the second piece overlapping the first piece. I'm not adding any foam tape behind the grass itself because it is popped up on the fence because the fence has foam adhesive behind it. Let's add a little bit of glue only at the bottom because I'm going to be tucking greenery and eggs into the grass piece. I don't want to glue it all the way up to the top. So I've laid everything out. I kind of have my design. I'm going to pull off some of the top pieces, leaving the back pieces and just adding some glue in some of the places. And then I can lay my pieces on top. So we're going to have this nice good layered effect. So some pieces will be tucked in the back piece of grass. Some pieces will be tucked in the front piece of grass. This is going to give us some nice dimension from back to front. So I tucked that little piece of greenery in the front. I'm going to glue that one down and back. Let's move that and adhere this down. I like that big fun yellow plant and then these fun little purple flowers. Just adds some color. We have a lot of color at the bottom with the egg, so it's kind of fun to bring your eyes up in the design with more color on the plants. I'm going to slide that guy in there and have just a little bit of liquid glue. I'm not gluing down every piece because I do want some of these plants to just have a little bit of movement and lift, and that gives dimension. So I'm figuring out how I want to tuck these other eggs in the back. So I've got eggs in the front piece of grass, and then I'm going to tuck some of these other ones behind the plants and tucked in, hiding away, because again, chickens do like to do that. So I think I have my layout pretty nice. I'm just adjusting how the eggs are sitting in the grass. Some will be laying more flat, some will be up, and then just adding little dots of glue behind them. And the one on the far left in the back, I'm going to add some glue. It is hanging over the edge. I will trim that off. I am not going to trim off the greenery though, because I do like how that looks. Let's add our sentiment. It says "Your Extra Special." I can't remember the name of the stamp set right now, you guys. I apologize, but it is listed and linked for you guys below in the description. I am going to use the coordinating die to die cut the sentiment out, and I did stamp it in black ink. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. And then we can place this on the card. I will use some foam adhesive behind it to give that dimension. And I'm going to center it from side to side and just kind of put it in with all of those plants, which also helps bring your eye up to the detail up higher. And I will adhere this to a white A2 size card base. And we are done. I think it turned out so super cute. Such a fun spring card to tell someone that they're special. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope you feel inspired.